For many, the idea of being a creator conjures images of artists hunched over their canvases, writers lost in pages of stories, or perhaps even filmmakers capturing fleeting moments of inspiration. Yet the role of the creator extends far beyond the boundaries of a particular craft or the expectations of an audience. In an increasingly digital world, where content is omnipresent and creativity is a currency, the notion of creating as a way of living, rather than just a job, holds powerful transformative potential. Let's explore the deep, enduring purpose creators can embrace, turning the act of making into a profound and lifelong journey. To begin, it's important to distinguish between creating for a living and creating as a way of living. The former suggests a transactional relationship. You produce, and in return, you receive compensation or recognition. Creating as a way of living, however, is something deeper. It involves weaving creativity into the very fabric of your daily existence, finding meaning and purpose in the process itself, not just its outcomes. At its core, creating as a way of living is about curiosity. For creators, curiosity fuels the urge to ask questions, to explore the world through a fresh lens, and to wonder about possibilities outside the realm of the ordinary. Every new idea becomes an adventure, every challenge a puzzle to be unraveled. This relentless curiosity keeps creators moving forward, whether they are discovering new materials for visual art, exploring fresh themes for novels, or experimenting with innovative storytelling techniques. From curiosity comes experimentation. Living as a creator means granting yourself permission to try and to fail. The process itself becomes the reward, as each experiment brings new knowledge, unexpected twists, and sometimes moments of sublime discovery. This approach frees creators from the paralyzing grip of perfectionism. Instead of obsessing over flawless results, creators relish the joyous unpredictability of the journey, knowing that even missteps contain lessons that can be carried into future work. There is also a profound sense of connection that comes from creating as a way of living. Artifacts and ideas are not conjured in a vacuum. They draw from shared experience, collective memory, and cultural context. When creators share their work, they are inviting others into a dialogue, opening doors to empathy and understanding. Creations, whether grand or simple, become bridges between people, places, and eras. They can kindle conversations, spark change, and foster a sense of belonging. Sometimes creators may encounter a paradox. The more they practice their craft, the more it feels like a profession. Deadlines, expectations, and audience feedback can begin to shape decisions. Here is where the true purpose for creators emerges, not in pleasing algorithms or chasing trends, but in returning to the intrinsic reasons for making things. Passion, play, and personal growth must remain at the heart. For a creator, it is possible to accept work as a necessity, but never as the sole motivation. The act of creation itself, of bringing something new into existence, is the lasting reward. Throughout history, many of the world's most original creators recognized this distinction. Writers kept diaries not for publication, but to make sense of their thoughts. Painters returned to familiar landscapes over and over, finding solace and inspiration in the interplay of light and shadow. Innovators tinkered in their workshops long after everyone else had gone home, driven by a spark of curiosity that would not quiet. They understood that the act itself, regardless of outward success, could nurture their spirit and give life its richest meaning. There is an invitation, then, in this way of living. It is an invitation to observe more closely, to reflect more deeply, to appreciate nuance in both the world and in oneself. Small acts of creation, a journal entry, a doodle, a voice memo of an idea, become rituals that ground the creator in the present moment. Each day contains potential for encounter and discovery, visible only to the eyes of those willing to see. For those who create, there is also a call to authenticity. In a world saturated with content and swayed by popular taste, creators living with purpose know the importance of remaining true to their own vision. It can be tempting to drift with prevailing winds, but lasting impact rarely comes from imitation. The most meaningful work resonates because it is sincere, an imprint of the creator's unique perspective and experience, unfiltered by outside pressure. It's important, too, to accept vulnerability as a companion on this path. Creating, especially from the heart, requires opening oneself to scrutiny, criticism, and, at times, indifference. It risks revealing hopes and fears, exposing the raw tissue of imagination and belief. Yet, it is precisely this willingness to be vulnerable that allows creators to forge genuine connections. True growth depends on stretching beyond comfort, daring greatly, and trusting that the journey itself is its own justification. Creating as a way of living also means reshaping your approach to time. Instead of segmenting creativity into rare, isolated bursts, it becomes integrated into daily rituals. The simple act of noticing, a shaft of sunlight on the floor, the cadence of a stranger's laughter, the unexpected alignment of clouds, can spark inspiration. In this way, even the most mundane moments become imbued with possibility. The creator's life is marked not by the scarcity of inspiration, but by an abundance of it, waiting to be recognized and harnessed. This approach to living is ultimately generative. It ripples outward, inspiring others to see possibilities where they might otherwise have seen limits. Teachers who create bring energy and originality to their lessons, igniting curiosity in students. Community organizers who create imagine and nurture spaces for connection and growth. Parents who create share with their families the joy of discovery and invention, fostering resilience and adaptability in the next generation. In so many ways, the world is richer for those who choose to make creativity a foundation, rather than a byproduct of their way of living. There can, of course, be periods of dryness, times when inspiration feels distant or when doubt looms large. In such moments, creators living with purpose rely not on the fleeting rush of novelty, but on steadfast habits. They know that the act of showing up, regardless of mood or motivation, keeps the creative flame alive. For some, this means keeping a sketchbook by the bedside or setting aside 5 minutes a day for free writing. For others, it could mean walking in nature, listening to new music, or simply allowing the mind to wander. Creativity is sustained over the long term by consistency, not by waiting for lightning to strike. Importantly, creating as a way of living offers a sense of agency. In a turbulent world where so much can feel beyond personal control, the act of making something, no matter how small, reminds creators that they are active participants in the unfolding of their own stories. Each choice made, each word written or note played, reinforces the belief that circumstances do not define possibility. Imagination does. Purpose, then, is less about seeking external validation and more about cultivating internal alignment. It is about honoring the drive to express, to explore, and to communicate, regardless of audience size or marketplace value. When creators position their work within the frame of personal growth and connection, each project carries more meaning. The process becomes not just a vehicle for achievement, but an ongoing dialogue with the world and with oneself. For those who worry that creativity is the privilege of the chosen few, these reflections offer reassurance. Creativity is a birthright, not a benchmark. It exists in every human being, in the way meals are prepared, gardens are arranged, conversations are navigated, and problems are solved. To live as a creator is to claim this birthright with curiosity, humility, and courage. Are there challenges along the way? Certainly. Fear of judgment, the pressure to monetize creativity, the fatigue brought by endless comparison, these are familiar companions for many. Yet the antidote is always the same, a return to the why of creating. Is it to build an audience, or to make sense of the world? Is it to prove worth, or to honor the sheer joy of exploration? Over time, the most purposeful creators realize that external rewards are fleeting, but inner fulfillment endures. The artwork sold, the piece published, the video viewed millions of times, all of these can offer pleasure. But the truest satisfaction comes from knowing that each day, in countless ways, you have chosen to bring something new into existence, to chart your own course, and to see the world with eyes open to possibility. In closing, Creating as a way of living is a radical, hopeful act. It is an assertion that the ordinary can be transformed, that each person has a voice worth hearing, and that engagement with the act of making, no matter how humble, has the power to change lives. It turns routine into ritual, uncertainty into opportunity, and solitude into communion. For those walking the Creator's path, there will be highs and lows, flashes of insight, and long periods of uncertainty. Yet in the act of returning every day, observing, reflecting, making, sharing, a deeper sense of purpose emerges. This way of living invites each of us to become not just witnesses to the world's unfolding, but its co-authors, not just recipients of experience, but active participants in its continual creation. So, whether you create on a grand scale or in quiet corners, whether your work is seen by millions or known only to you, let your creativity be more than just a job. Let it be a source of meaning, a practice of presence, and a celebration of what it means to be fully alive. In this, the purpose of creators finds its truest expression, a way of living that leaves the world richer, more connected, and forever more imaginative than before.